We are going to be talking over the next 90 minutes about the next steps in super aggregation, and I'm incredibly pleased to welcome our next speaker to the stage, John Espen, Nergård from Allente. Please put your hands together.
Thank you, Sam. So I want to talk about super aggregation, how we work with it in Allente. And I'll jump straight to the challenges that we are facing. So first of all, over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, vast amounts of new direct-to-consumer services has been launched. Not only in the Nordic market, or not only globally, but also in the Nordic market. That creates a lot of fragmentation for the customers. So then you get customer fragmentation, or content fragmentation, I mean. And the content fragmentation isn't just that, for instance, Disney withdrawing all the content and putting all the content in the new Disney Plus app, but also within certain rights. So from Norway perspective, for instance, sports rights, winter sports. Viaplay has parts of the winter sports rights, super popular, but then other parts is on NRK, the public broadcaster, or TV2. Super difficult for the consumer to understand, where do I find my content? Then changing user needs and behaviors. Everything that is happening in this industry and is happening at a high pace also means that we're forcing the users to change their behaviors. And their needs are changing. We have been through a pandemic that changed viewing behaviors. That also changed content windows, release windows, rights windows. But also users want to watch their content in a different way. And users want to get access to all their content in different services. So then you get kind of jumping in between services. You also get app fatigue, service fatigue, and that changes the game totally. So that's kind of the context and the challenges that we are working with and trying to find ways of solving. Also, when we're diving into what are the actual user needs? So we did a large Ipsos survey in Allente. It confirmed a lot of our hypotheses. For instance, that customers, they like to have a discounted price for bundles, either content bundles or TV and broadband bundles. But they're also telling us they want some kind of flexibility and some kind of low-cost alternatives. And I try to kind of figure it out. It seems pretty easy when I'm talking about it. Flexibility, yes, easy to make. But is it really that easy? You can go all in flexibility, but then you give a magnitude of choices for the consumer, and it's difficult to navigate. So the way we are working with it is, first of all, optimization. So subscription optimization, optimization for screens and devices, optimizations for content. So if you do the subscription optimization first, last year we launched a new packaging model for our OTT customers, delivering a Stream Basic. It's a cheaper variant, get some content. It's a great package, great value for money, but not so much flexibility. If you want flexibility, you can go to the Flex 2 package. It allows you to choose 2 additional SVOD services on top of the basic package, or extra TV channels. Or you can go all in right now with the Stream Flex 2, or Flex 4, sorry, which allows you to select everything. It's more expensive, but you get everything in one place. This model gives the users the perception of flexibility, and it's actually, in reality, also giving flexibility, but it's also giving us a lot of flexibility. Giving us a lot of flexibility to play around and experiment with our business model, our value proposition to the customer. How can we sell this? How can we optimize this? And it also fully supports the AVOD business models that are now entering to the market. Just add it as an add-on, easy. User gets the option to choose, do I want this with ads or do I not? Then device types. If I'm watching on a mobile, I have different interests compared when I'm watching on a big screen. Content types. This is HBO Max, soon to be Max. We deep link to HBO Max. And we create a seamless experience from when you go into the content on our app and all the way into watching the content into HBO Max. So you press the content, get some information that we're now opening the HBO Max app. It doesn't matter if it's on the big screen, smart TV, or if it's on your mobile, if you want to watch it there. Experience is the same. And then you play the content. Or you can watch content inside the Allente app. VOD, live TV, everything is optimized so you get the perfect experience for the exact content that you want to watch. Then, of course, we also do a lot of experiments. So we want to experiment with how do we sell our products? How do we present our content? What kind of content do we want to present? And what kind of segments do we want to reach with our content? And of course, we also do experiments with business development. When we do the experiments, we learn, and we make sure they are optimized before we scale them and take them out to our customers fully. So looking into sales, how can we leverage our applications, our products, to do upsales or new sales, sign-ups? How can we get customers in there? How can we use the content and different ways of presenting the content to allow the customer to upgrade to a higher tier level, and also building our business on that? So in this example, we just put up a poster on top of the page, quite basic, but we wanted to test what kind of traffic does this generate back to us. Then we can be more advanced. We can mix it into the content. So if I'm a basic customer, I can use the data from what you have been watching and say, hey, you have been watching a lot of sports. Maybe you are interested in this sports package, but I'll put it a little bit further down on the screen because I don't want to be intrusive. I know, and I think most TV viewers, when they come into a TV series, first and foremost, they want to watch TV. They don't want to be exposed for a lot of sales ads and so on and so forth. They just want to watch TV. So by doing this a little bit clever and working with it actively, we can optimize it and create a lot of value and relevancy for us as a business, but also for our customers. On content side, there's a lot of different content to choose from. There's never been produced as much content globally as it is today. And it's just increasing. Then we have a customer base that is kind of built on our legacy business from DTH. Our OTT customers are a little bit younger, but still quite old. We also want to reach the little bit younger segments. Try to find ways of reaching them in good ways by integrating the content in ways that are attractive for those customers and integrating the right content into our service. So one of the things that we are playing around with now, and I'll show you a video in a few seconds, is integrating the new YouTube recommendation API, which gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of, it goes a little bit fast in the beginning for some reason. Gives us a lot of flexibility on how we present content. What content do we present? We can just tell the recommendation API, hey, give me Lady Gaga. Or, I think the developer here was a Lady Gaga fan, that's why it's here. Or we can make it more contextual. So if you're interested in sports, you can build around that sport. So for the National Football League in Norway, we can get all the YouTube content, all the high quality YouTube content that is related to the National Football League in Norway, and build a huge area around it that makes high value for the consumers and our customers. And value increases the content, and also for us creates better logic for doing upsales. We also experiment a lot with how can we access different types of content or different types of services? How can we present it in different ways? So in this example, it's just a basic app link, but it breaks out a little bit in how it's presented. Instead of using the normal 2x3 images, DVD covers, or the landscape photos, we're using circles to kind of illustrate. This is a different way of entering the same content. Other ways of presenting it is kind of parts of lists, as we do. But one thing that is really important to become that super aggregator is to get the data back from the SVOD services, so that we can also build on our personalized recommendations, and I can start recommending content across different services. But for me as a user, if I started to watch the series, I want to easily continue watching that series. So the data is also super important to build that great user experience where I can just open the Allente app. Hey, there's the content that I watched on TV2 Play. I'm halfway into that season. I want to continue it. So that's many different ways, and different ways we are experimenting with content. Then, of course, we do also experiment with business development. In this case, also this video is kind of need to catch up with something, it seems. We were thinking about how can we use our applications, our B2C service, also for B2B. B2B has the same demands, the same needs as B2C. So what we looked at was taking our B2C applications and adding some extra functionality, adding another backend kind of that supports the flexibility and the needs of our hotel service or hospitality service. They have totally different requirements. For instance, they want to have different content for different room types and for different hotels. So we needed to support that. So we did an experiment. We did it for one application, rolled it out as a test at one hotel, couple of rooms. How did the customers perceive it? How did the hotel perceive it? They loved it. Okay, then let's scale. Then we developed more apps, launching more hotel rooms, and trying to scale it further. And it's actually also a great opportunity to do upsells. Once you have used the service in the hotel room, they have seen the Allente brand, we can collect them as leads, and we can contact them afterwards to start working with the upsells. Then, of course, we need to celebrate our wins. So all these optimizations, all these experiments, where has it taken us? Well, first of all, customers, our OTT customer base, a lot of focus on quantity, building the base from basically scratch in 2022, up to a very, very satisfactory level today. But of course, we need a lot of focus on quantity. It's maybe not the highest quality sales we have done in history. So let's focus a little bit more on quality in our sales. How do we optimize for quality? How do we maintain customers or retain customers for a longer period of time? So that's kind of the next experiments that we will be deep diving more into. Usage, only showing the last year, but over the last 4 years, we have had 30% year-over-year growth in usage of our streaming services, which is incredible. We were starting from high level, but continuing to grow significantly in our usage. That's a huge compliment from our customers to us that they do love our services. They do love what we are providing, and they do love using it. Then, of course, there are some other challenges that we also need to talk a little bit about in this industry. And I want to spend 1.5 minutes on piracy. It's a tremendous industry challenge, and it's growing. Over the last year, only looking at Sweden, 23% growth in paying piracy users. In the Nordics alone, 1 million paying subscribers for piracy services. 50 billion SEK, or approximately 4.8 billion euros, in lost tax revenues. That's piracy alone in the Nordics alone. Nordics is a really, really, really small market. And they can do this because they don't pay content rights. They are the super aggregators of today. They collect all the content, and they don't pay 1 dime in content rights. And for crap's sake, sorry my French, the operators in the market are even paying for their distribution because they're using our signals. Huge challenge. So the industry needs to come together to fight this challenge. Super, super important. It can't be done by one player alone. The end. Thanks.
We have time for a couple of questions.
Yes.
Has anybody got a question in the audience? Anybody? I can see one down here up front. Jeff Eels.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So how are you tracking? How do you get to the 23%? How do you know that they're
23% growth?
Yeah. Is this you can see the stream, but you know they're not paying for it?
Yes. So we
my
actually
own question. Look at that.
Yes. So we can track all the piracy servers on a global scale, and we do that as a joint effort in the Nordics through Nordic Content Protection. And then we see the traffic going from the sites to the streaming service that they are actually using. On the other hand, we can also see it on the CDN traffic.
I have time for one more. See one. What's the best way to get to you? John Moulding, editorial consultant.
Hi, John Espen.
Hi, John.
On your apps where you can now resume content where I left off, so you said in TV2, I can go in there on your screen, is that right? So I don't have to be in the TV2 app, but on your home screen, I would see where I finished a TV2 program.
Yeah.
Okay, and how many apps can you do that with, or how many do you do that with now?
Obviously, that data exchange is a little bit easier to do with the local broadcasters than some of the global ones, for good reasons. It's one, data is of high value. Two, if, for instance, HBO would do data integrations with every single operator they have integrated with, probably will cause some challenges in the data flows and infrastructure. So currently we kind of have been working with TV2 to kind of create a really good and stable solution, kind of a framework, and then we want to scale it out to others as well, kind of proving that this is actually working well. we are not using the data for any other purpose than just bookmarking and presenting the continue watching. And it generates value for TV2 as well.
Okay, thank you.
I have time for one very quick one over here.
Yeah, I was just wondering your flex offerings. So picking 2 on top of the base or 4 on top of the base. What's the difference in the take rate of those 2 offerings?
I think the Flex 2 has the highest uptake of those 2 offers. So users or our customers everyone is living a very busy day. So very few people actually have time to use all the services at once. So limiting it to having only 2, I think makes more sense for most customers. But there are always those that want to have everything and feels it's a need to have everything. So we also want to offer that, of course.
Is that a huge drop-off rate after 2, or?
I don't. It's not tremendously huge, but the base is currently skewed a little bit towards the basic packaging. The basic packaging might have or might not have a little bit too good of a value for money offering right now. So that's optimizing that a little bit to get people on the Flex 2 packaging. But that's.
And you can confirm that the churn rates are different or lower the more additional services people actually take in those packages?
Higher retention for higher tiers, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks very much. Please put your hands together for John Espen.
Thank you.